Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is F1 2018. I'm into week 38 of the Gaming Decathlon competition, but this is week 2 since the release of the game. This is episode number 4 overall. I'm going to do things a little differently in this episode, as this is going to be a 2-race episode. With the intended longevity of this series, I'm looking to play many seasons to get Williams from bottom to top, and in order to do that, it's going to be a lot more than just 21 episodes. So if that's going to be the case, I need to start mixing it up a little bit and occasionally getting a couple races per episode in, so I have room to get more races. So with that being said, we're going to jump straight to the end of qualifying so we can get that first race in. See you back in a moment. Quick confirmation, after finishing in 7th place in the last race, we add 4 to the difficulty, now to 78. Once I hit 80, the 3 flashbacks will be down to 2. And so far in the races, I have used 3, 1, and 2 flashbacks. So only once have I gone past that point.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway.
Here I am on my first qualifying lap, and I have Raikkonen to my inside. It was just a little bit of time trying to get around him. He was just heading out for his outlap. And that was just turn 3 where we made that move. So the end of the first DRS zone. So luckily I at least had the DRS, but I did lose a little bit of time having to go wide on the corner. But I think we're still just fine for the lap itself. By the time I get back to the garage, I'm already P16, meaning I will have to go out again. Coming to the end of Q1, I'm 1.6 seconds better than my first run. It should be enough to get me out of Q1. Oh, 5th place! As I come to the end of the first lap, I feel like this is better than the lap I ended Q1 on. At the moment, it's good for P5, but it is early. It's behind Perez. I was ahead of Perez in Q1. Halfway through Q2, I'm just out at this point in time with a 1:43.5. This was about 4 to 5/10 of a second slower than my Q1 time. It would not be enough to get out of this session, but I'm not sure I have tires left. I do not. That is all my ultras. It's a little less wear on this set. Just a little up on my time. Looks like I might gain about 3/10. I'm down to P12 now as we reach the line. That's the end of Q2 and into 7th. I might have gotten just a little toe there from Alonso helping me out, but we were all stacked in pretty tight. I come in just behind Perez in P8 to start the race.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy.
It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race? You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Great. Well, that's everything.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Valtteri Bottas. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, the Professor, Hamilton. They've taken a grid penalty. Hülkenberg, Ocon, and Fernando Alonso. Sainz, Magnussen, Charles Leclerc and Ricciardo, Ericsson, Van Dorn, Brendan Hartley, and Pierre Gasly. Grosjean and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
I'm anticipating a difficult start to the race with Hamilton just behind me on the grid. Definitely see time saving with the one-stop strategy. Wow, pit lap 2. Gotta go 3 laps with these things. This is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. 5 lights are ready to go. And we're going racing. 5 lights are out. I'm on the right side there, inside, heading to turn 1. We're row 3. We make a move on Verstappen, but I hit him in the box on the side. That's going to make some damage. Could start hard bump on Verstappen though, and I've taken some damage to the wing in the process. Got to the inside of Verstappen here. That Mercedes power giving me a little bit of an edge. He's able to brake later. Oh, this time he's the one who applies the bump, and now got damage to both sides of the wing. Maybe a little too aggressive here early on, as this could very much hurt us. I am in P4, but with the damage, I'm already finding a little bit of difficulty. It's a little bit of a rough drive, and this is going to be hard to hang on to. It's not the easiest track to pass on, though, so I expect those top three are probably going to get away from me a bit, but can I keep everyone else at bay? Verstappen is still the one behind me. With the toe, comes Verstappen up my inside. I'm at least close, but Perez also close on me. He keeps looking to the inside. But meanwhile, Hamilton goes to make a move around the outside of Perez. And again, stacked up real tight here as we head into the first DRS of the day here on lap number... No, it's lap 2. No DRS yet. No DRS yet. Real difficulty getting around the corner there, and I have a slight brush with the wall. Verstappen starting to open up a gap through the corners here, especially when you add in the damage to the wing. It's real difficult to keep up with him. Second time in through Old Town. I'm working the car as best I can, but it's not quite enough, and Verstappen is opening that gap. Even laying off the gas, have just a little brush with the wall there. This is going to be difficult for me. There's Hamilton and Perez. I'm going to try to pick up that toe as best I can.
The battery is low on energy. Reduce ERS deployment. Okay, window open. Let's box this lap. Okay, take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage.
So in that fight early on to get position, I have done myself a bit of a disservice, as now that lack of wing, the difficulties in these turns really shows, and it really showed there as I had a lot of trouble getting around that corner. I get a warning for a collision with Magnus, really? Not that I could do. I'm coming off the wall there. I've got nowhere to go.
Whoa. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Your front wing is damaged. Expect a lot of understeer unless we replace it. Got that confirmed.
Okay, it looks like we're going to be replacing the wing in this time as I continue to drop places. I'm down to P8 now. I get it through there. Luckily, I'm going to come in this time for a new wing and a fresh set of tires to get to the end. We're going to switch to the Super Softs. But meanwhile, I come around that corner and another two cars get past, and you can see everyone behind me looking to make their moves. They're all able to stay in it on that turn, and I cannot, so I'm slowing down to head in here. I've got Ricardo just behind me as he started with that grid penalty, starting way back down in the field, and I am into the pits. We're going to be switching out the wing. The old wing is off. They're making the move. Pit stop is done otherwise, so a lot of time lost here But we are out on the Super Softs, heading back onto track. About an extra 6 seconds or so to get the wing changed out. And we are back onto the racetrack and in last place at the moment. A lot of cars at the pits. Hamilton coming in there. Ferrari on his way back out onto the track. That's Raikkonen. Meanwhile, a whole host of cars still out on the track, so there's going to be a lot of traffic. And Raikkonen comes out just ahead of his teammate Vettel, who pitted a lap earlier. Last one of the leaders still out on track is Bottas, who went an extra lap over all the others. Alright, so still in last place after that wing change. It looks like it was enough to relegate me all the way to the back of the grid.
Let's increase ERS deployment to up the pace.
Right away, I'm running a lot better. I'm almost a second a lap faster than I was before coming in, due to having an intact wing. Close enough this time to make a move. This should be easy. Still have the DRS as well. Brake late around the outside. Got the grip. It looks like I'm... Yes. Have enough to make the move. We ride on board with Bottas, leader of the race. Last of the leaders heading into pit road. And with a quick stop, the Mercedes is heading back out. Still currently P1. And he will remain there with the two Ferraris next in line at a quite large gap between him and second and third. We ride with Vettel in third place, close to his teammate behind. Verstappen caught in between, and Hamilton back. Heading in the final lap of the Grand Prix, I am still...
We're leading our teammate by 5.2 seconds.
Still in the back, but I've got a chance to make a run here at the end. And I've got around Van Dorn here on the outside, same place where I made that last move. Keep getting that snap of oversteer there. Part of that's just curving. And coming across the line first is Valtteri Bottas to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, with Raikkonen second, Vettel third, Verstappen comes in fourth. Hamilton slowly closed him down over the course of the race, but never got close enough to make a move in fourth and fifth there. There we go. Final run down the straight. I'm going to have DRS. I'm rich mode, hot lap mode.
Yellow flag.
Can we? Oh, there's a yellow flag now. I'm not going to make another pass here. We're going to finish in
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
P17. Not our best day by any means. A lot of that came down to my own faults. Damage to the wing
Mercedes have pulled off a
early
great
on.
victory here today.
A little too aggressive against Verstappen there on the
And
first
Anthony
couple of
Davidson,
laps.
Give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this
Bottas
result?
picks up
I think a large
back-to-back
part of the
wins.
result comes down to temperament. They were able
She
to
should have had
keep
one
ahead
in
everyone around them
real
was
life
losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the
as
best
well
out of the
before
car
he
to
had that
maximise the
tire go
strategy
flat
to
after
stay out
the
of trouble.
Ricardo Verstappen incident left a little bit of debris on the track that he picked up.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race.
Wow.
They've excelled here as they so
Back-to-back
often
races
do,
with
and
a
it's
Mercedes on
well-deserved
top
victory.
and two
Mercedes then
Ferraris
are on
joining
top
them on the
today.
podium. And in both races, it is Bottas with the win. So tough season for Hamilton so far.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's got to be Romain Grosjean. He was in another league for me today. Really impressive.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.
10 points separate 4th to 8th place right now. Big three are pulling away as always. 11 points separating Ferrari and Mercedes. Just 1 point from 4th to 6th, and a little bit further back. Down in 10th place in the driver's standings. But even that's higher than it should be. And as I raise that AI difficulty level more and more, it's going to be harder and harder to grab points this season. Honestly, that was one of my best chances of grabbing points this year. That's going to do it for this race, but not for this episode. We're going to move on. We have one more.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just misjudge some corners?
Car sliding all over the place. Yeah.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
Yeah. Wasn't deliberate, but the car wasn't nimble enough.
Appreciate your time.
That team goal bonus does apply this race, so I get an extra 400 points, giving us enough for the next efficiency upgrade on the chassis, and we're drawing closer to begin applying those points earned, and essentially half-cost parts all the way through the chassis development.
Our proposal has been
Oh,
accepted.
just
The new contract
just
will take
nailed
effect
it.
from the next race weekend.
That was right about perfect. Alright, so that slots me in with slightly higher expectations, which don't seem out of reach at all. But the race bonus, 75% increase to that bonus each race should pick up another 100 points or so each week, and in the long term will have a big impact. I continue on with my chassis development, but focusing first on the efficiency. Coming up on the end of my first hot lap in Catalonia. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. And my first time is only good enough for 14th.
That's giving you P14, 7th row of the grid.
Whew, just enough to get out. P4 at the moment, but it's very, very early in the session. Already down to P5 with whoever the next finisher was just behind me. And that's going to wrap up qualifying. I end up in P14, same position I was at the end of Q1. I did improve by half a second. Of course, times continue to get faster as you go through. It looks like Hamilton and Vettel might have a bit of an advantage in the race coming up, as both ran on soft tires during Q2. Kimi Räikkönen on the super soft came in fastest. We're going to head to the race now for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about the Professor. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
That's right, it is a difficult environment to come into. In junior categories, you're competing against drivers with similar levels of experience, but some of these guys in Formula One have been there for over a decade. But I have to say, in this case, it's so far so good.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton and Magnussen, Ricciardo, Sainz, Alonso and Stoffel van Dorn, Grosjean, Perez, Nico Hülkenberg, the Professor, Hartley, Ocon, Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly. Ericsson and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So it looks like my teammate is taking a penalty once again as he adds new parts to the car. I'm going to flip this. We're going to go soft first. That'll be 11 laps. And we'll do the super softs at the end. And with that, we are ready to get the Spanish Grand Prix underway. Continuation of episode number 4, and this is the 5th race in my driver's career. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. 5 lights, ready to go. And they're out, let's go racing. Little too hard on the gas, and I'm going to lose traction and lose some time here. But we are 3 wide. I'm to the inside. I'm going to brake late. Almost go into the back of the McLaren. Dive to the inside, just to the edge of the curbing. No trouble there, but lose a bit of a position. And Hartley comes across the track and slams into me, sending me off into the grass. Luckily, I'm able to save it there and recover. But it drops me back to P20 by the time I get back on the track. I've closed back up on the Alfa Romeo of Ericsson, and I'm coming up close on him. He's braking hard. I've got to dive out of the way. I dive to the outside and actually take out the signage board, but I get up beside Ericsson. I save it, no contact, and I go ahead and complete the pass on the next corner. That was a close call. Coming up on the end of the straight, Ericsson's got a bit of a run trying to get back up beside me, and he does. He gets to the inside. I'm on the outside. There might have been just a light touch there. I go off for a moment. He goes off for a moment. We bump a second time. No warnings for either of us. Just a racing incident, and I come out ahead. This is for 19th place, and it's like we're racing for the lead. Ocon's got a problem. He's going to be out of this race. He's got a mechanical failure. And meanwhile, I'm catching up quickly on Hartley and my teammate Sirotkin. And now the yellow flag is waved. They're telling me to give the positions back. I didn't pass under the yellow, but the yellow comes out right as I make the move. And I'm given a 5-second stop-go penalty that I'm going to have to now serve later on. Bad timing on that one, as I already had a run. I was already going past Hartley. They didn't slow down at all for the slowed Ocon, who was out of the race. But I get nabbed for passing under the caution. That's going to be costly later on. Rocking to the outside. My teammate was able to follow me through on those moves, and he got no penalties in that process.
Fuel target +1. Okay, take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage.
Complete the pass to the inside, diving in, late on the brakes. Whew. Touch to the outside, almost spun me around. Just about maintained it there. Dive to the inside again. This time I'm able to hold him off. Meanwhile, Bottas is into the pits. He is in the lead of this race. Ferrari, Raikkonen also in just behind him as well. The Red Bull, and Bottas has to wait. He actually loses a little bit of time waiting on the Red Bull to get through, but he comes out still just in front of Raikkonen. And Red Bull actually gets to close the gap as a result. More cars coming out of the pits here. I'm going to come out right behind, or Raikkonen coming out of the pits just in front of me. Rockin makes the move to the outside. Just about keep it in there long enough. There might have been a little touch there. Right now, Bottas is your race leader. Half a straightaway behind is Vettel. Raikkonen third. And he looks to the outside to make a move at the end of the front stretch. Side by side through turn 1, and Raikkonen strong on the gas into turn 2, but Vettel recovers. Vettel's on the mediums. Raikkonen is running the softs. And they are still side by side. Meanwhile, Hamilton has closed right up on their back end, and Ricciardo behind him. It's a four-way battle. Raikkonen nearly has it there. And yes, he's just about ahead now into P2 for Raikkonen. Vettel slotting back into P3, and Hamilton now right on his gearbox in P4 with Ricciardo in P5. And Sorokin heads into the pits.
Sergey in the pits. The gap to the car ahead is 5.6 seconds.
I'm currently in P6, but that is due to not having pit yet when most everyone else has. Here comes Verstappen. He is right up on me. I'll let him go around to the inside here. Try to catch a toe, but he actually comes off the corner slowly. And I nearly get into the back of him, and again nearly into the back of him. Apparently that was not the time to let him by, as I'm faster through this area than Verstappen is. And finally begins to open up the gap a little bit. Pick up DRS for the first time in the race here on lap number 8. So Grosjean's the next one back. I got a little gap to him. Finding him getting a little bit faster as time goes on in this race. Grosjean right on me. I'm not really racing him, so there's no point defending. And if anything, I might be able to hang with him a while longer than I did compared to Verstappen and actually gain the advantage. He's to the inside. Alonso goes to the inside here on the straightaway. Already conceded one position. I'm on old tires. These guys are all on fresh tires. With Alonso to the inside, I stay wide. Got the inside track here. Almost a bump, almost a bump. There's a slight touch of wheels. And then a brake check from Alonso. I just stay out of it enough to not make contact. Lose a little momentum out of that, but I recover. I get the toe. But with a line of 5 cars and myself the only one yet to pit, this is a little bit of a painful position to be in. Defend to the outside. Definitely getting close on me here. Definitely hear a knock in the engine when you get that onboard camera view. The pace is just a little bit off. And 3 wide, cars going either way of me, plus another one to the inside. Lost 2 positions already, trying to retain the other as I'm still racing on. I stay very wide, and the Force India comes all the way across the track, Perez, and he puts me into the wall. He goes into the wall as well. Really struggling to control the car here at the end of the lap. Fortunately, I didn't have a lot further to go, and I head into the pits now to repair the damage, to serve my 5-second stop-go penalty, and put on a fresh set of tires to go to the end of the race. And I head into the pits. Everybody's got to wait 5 seconds on the clock. And there, the work begins. We put on the mediums to get to the end of the race. And we head back out, and that was Marcus Ericsson going past. The only car left behind us is Sergio Perez, the very one who put me into the wall. With Ocon out of the race, that puts me in P18, and I'm a good 5 seconds back of Ericsson in P17. Valtteri Bottas comes around the chicane for the final time. Coming around the final corner to take the checkered flag in the Spanish Grand Prix. Raikkonen comes across in second. Ricciardo, who had overtaken Vettel, comes third. And Hamilton looking to make a move right on the line. Cannot get around Vettel. Hamilton comes in P5. I'm able to close up here on Ericsson. There's DRS making the move to the inside. And complete the pass. Back up to P17, at least on the last lap I was able to get around Ericsson, but we were too far back with the 5-second penalty mixed with having to put on a new wing after I took damage when Van Dorn put me into the wall. I hope that he was given a penalty for that.
If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own, and that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Vettel takes fourth.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies.
So Bottas and Raikkonen top two for the third straight race.
Grand Prix.
And they are joined on the podium. It looked like Ricciardo, but we haven't gotten any sort of close-up of him. Yes, it is. So Daniel Ricciardo takes third in the race.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I think I'm going to give it to Daniel Ricciardo. He's come through the field so well today, you know. Well deserved.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time though, goodbye.
Alright, so Ferrari's leading the Constructors, drops to 6 points. Renault moves up a spot into 5th. They were level on points though last time. And I remain in 10th in the Drivers' Championship. Meanwhile, Raikkonen actually moves ahead of a struggling Hamilton. Hamilton has not qualified well at all this season. He's rarely been in the top 5-6 positions. And Vettel's lead in the point standings drops to just 2 points. Sorokin finishes in 16th. If you take out the incidents for me, I would have easily been ahead of him. But I get beat by my teammate for the first time this season. And apparently it's Perez that took me out into the wall, as there's no penalty here for Van Dorn of any kind, so it looks like Perez was the one who came across. Yeah, they're on lap 11. That's the right timing for that. So Perez is the one who put me into the wall, and all he got was a warning. And it was Ocon's mechanical failure that gave me the 5-second stop-go penalty, after I was literally making a double pass at the exact moment that the flag was waved, and then I was told to give it back, and I wasn't even given enough time to give that back, and I ended up having to take the 5-second penalty. Hartley also got a warning for a collision with me in the first couple turns of the race. With 81% wear and tear on the internal combustion engine, I'm going to go ahead and move to my second of the year. And with 5 of 6 races completed and about 32% wear left in the gearbox, we should be able to get through one more race, and hopefully without anything going amiss. But with that result, back-to-back 17th place, both races involving incidents, relegating us further back in the grid. We're going to head to Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix, my favorite race in the world, but also my worst track, so it'll be an interesting one to watch. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.